Welcome to the Top Gear India magazine podcast. This is episode 3. We have debuted Saneet.
Finally, thank you. I made it.
Okay, a bunch of stuff to discuss.
Yeah.
Let's, I think, start with launches in March. You've gone and driven some of these.
Yeah. The first one I drove was the eVitara cousin, the Ibella. Not much was different. Hopefully prices. But that's expected, right? Badge engineering. But the funny part was, I don't think Toyota was aware of the pricing of the eVitara and vice versa. So, all bets are off.
To be very fair, the Toyota looks nicer than the eVitara does, at least to most. I do. I think it looks
I think the audience is split because I was going through the comments. Some of them say they don't like the black band. It's too plain. Some of it, they like it. So.
Anyways, so the other big launch, the Duster is the big launch. Honestly, that's the big one of the month. That's later in the month, I think 14th or something around that region. There are a bunch of luxury car launches, but let's I think stick with the Duster for a bit. I have driven it, but I can't say anything about it yet.
Correct.
I've also we've seen the car.
I've seen it in person. I can talk about it.
Yeah, I've seen the production, like the final production version also. All we can say is from what we've seen, from what you've seen, it looks really cool.
It does.
Interiors are damn nice.
Agreed.
And
surprisingly good is what I would say.
And I really want to say how it drives, but sadly I really can't. I just can't. But we're looking forward to driving it.
Yeah.
The other car I'm looking forward to driving is the Kushaq with the new gearbox in it. The new 7-speed torque converter.
Yeah.
With the 1-liter engine. That's the differentiator now with the 6-speed torque converter in the Kailak and 7-speed in the Kushaq.
Correct.
So one more gear, which means better top end fuel economy, better performance in generally.
Apparently it's lighter as well.
Is it overall?
Yeah.
And it looks nicer. And they've done the massage seats thing in the back, which I just don't. I said it in the first look as well. I just don't see the point in it. You should have given cool seats in the back. But maybe there is an audience who likes massage seats in the rear. You never know.
In the front, I would have said would have been better because in that segment, I have seen very few people using it as a chauffeured car. It's mostly self-driven.
But maybe this changes the perception. But I think cooled and massage would have been the perfect combination. That would have been a really cool combination. What else is there? Oh, the SQ8 is launching. That's another premium car. And the V-Class. The V-Class is coming back to India.
Yeah.
And eventually there will be a new V-Class. It will be called the EQV. And there will be a Maybach version of the V-Class. That's what people are doing because Mercedes has realized that people do modify the V-Class to make it a lot more luxurious.
Correct.
Especially in Dubai, where they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And in India as well. So 5 launches that we know of so far
that are coming up
in March, which means that we'll have our hands full. We already have our hands full with some other stuff that we do.
Stay tuned for that. I can't say anything.
We can't say any of that. I know this. We are being teasy or whatever. We're being typical YouTube oriented clickbaiters or whatever you want to call it. But we can't do it. But there's a lot more to discuss. There was a comment, and we read all the comments, including all the negative ones, and including some from certain people who don't really like us. But that's okay. You're free to express your opinion, and we'll keep the comment. It makes no real difference. We take it as positive criticism, and we just move on. There was a comment in the first podcast we did saying, "Can you talk about sedans?" That's all the gentleman said, and I promised that I would. So I think let's start with that. Sedans versus SUVs. I'll have your take first.
I am 100% for sedan. All right. Let's start from the base, right? When growing up, we were always interested in cars. All of us drew cars. What did you draw? You draw a 3-box silhouette of a car with 2 wheels, right? And that's sedan, right? And even when in India cars became mass market, there was the Maruti 800, but then a premium version was an Esteem. Right, the Honda City, the Accent probably as well, but they were the cool cars. And we've grown up thinking the same way. Even internationally, the S-Class has always been the best car in the world, which is a sedan, right? And now you have SUVs too, because people want road presence, they want to battle our bad roads, you need ground clearance to go over the boulders that we call speed breakers. But essentially, the appeal, the elegance of a car, I feel, in the quintessential way has always been a sedan.
So I'm an SUV person.
Okay.
I love SUVs, but I get the sedan appeal. I mean, every time I drive, say like a Virtus, Verna, even the turbo, which actually is a really really quick car, or of course when I drive like older sedans, like an older Mercedes, or even E-Class or an S-Class. By the way, we're driving the S63 this weekend.
Yeah.
Cool
story on that.
Yeah, very very cool bits coming. You can look at the magazine. It'll be in the magazine. It's not a web story. It's not going to be. We put out pictures, but it's not going to be like a video. But again, I get the appeal of a sedan, but in our conditions, the usability factor that an SUV gives is just so much more. That's the reason that people are moving towards SUVs, and that's the reason that manufacturers are just not doing sedans. Now, would I love to see like a would I love to see a Honda City having a resurrection of being like the absolute benchmark in the segment? 100%, yes. Would I like to see, say, a smaller, a VRS version or a GTI version of a Virtus? 100%. I think a Slavia VRS is something that Škoda can really do, and at 30 lakh rupees, they can really revolutionize how India sees performance just by putting the standard Octavia engine into it.
I think there is a huge gap right now, right?
Yeah.
In that price segment, which goes above, say, your Verna, Virtus, Slavia, till, say, the Camry.
Yeah.
There's nothing in between.
And honestly, like a company like VW has access internally to bin parts that they can actually make a Slavia VRS work. I've been saying this to Škoda for a long, long time. Like, for example, I think there should be a Kailak VRS with a 1.5 in it.
But is there a market?
I think there's a market.
Yeah.
Or like a Kushaq VRS or a Slavia VRS with a 2 liter. I think there's definitely a market for a bunch of people, and do a limited run, do like 500 cars.
But does it make sense for them financially?
It's the same engine that they're already using in different cars.
But because we have done enthusiast cars in the past, there has been a JTP, there has been N-Lines, there have been your Polo GTI was there as well, right? Did they do well?
Okay, I'll tell you what the faults in all of these are.
Yeah.
GTP, too niche, did not cater to a tuning audience. That's what you need to cater to, right? You need to cater to a tuning audience. You had simple things. You can't put wheels on. I mean, you can put wheels on it, but you can't mass market find the wheels because of 108 PCD and not 100 PCD because Tata uses old Ford PCD wheels for some reason. 100 is the most commonly used, and 114.3 for a 5-hole design is the most commonly used aftermarket wheel, and 112. We're getting into real semantics here, but 112 PCD for all the VW stuff 5-hole, 114.3 for all the Japanese stuff 5-hole, and then 100 PCD 5-hole for smaller VW stuff like the Virtus, Polo, etc., and 4-hole for all the Marutis, all the Hyundais, etc.
But coming back to why these
didn't work. The GTP didn't work because you couldn't do anything more to it. All these cars, all these enthusiast cars, people buy because they want to make it their own. With the VRS, right? With the Polo GT DSi. Most Polo GT DSis are either driven by people who bought them as their first automatic and they've been using it absolutely perfect stock for so long, or people who bought them to modify them. Like I have just bought one 2021 another one. I've just bought another Polo to build it into like a 200 horsepower hot hatch. For that sole reason, the JTPs you couldn't do anything with. The N-Lines on the other hand are fantastic cars. So for example, the Creta N-Line, you can put a tune on that and it reaches about 190 horsepower like that in 15 minutes. Phenomenal suspension. I think that's done really well in certain segments. The i20 N-Line has done really well in certain segments. I think the Venue N-Line is a bit of a half-baked product, although they drive really well, especially the new one. But I think the Creta N-Line is the absolute enthusiast benchmark in that segment. Like even over the Taygun, in my opinion. Yeah, absolutely. In terms of outright horsepower and weight drives, it outhandles the Taygun. So, what was the third one? The GTI. Well, the Polo GTI failed because the launch price was just absurd. It was 28 lakhs or something, and that just didn't make any sense. But then when they made it 1499, sold out in half a day.
Yeah, but nobody knew about it.
No, we all knew about it. A lot of people actually bought it.
And
today they all sell for what, 20 lakh rupees? I haven't seen a Polo GTI for 120 for a long time.
Crazy prices.
Yeah.
So they're retaining value, but then, as you said, most of these cars are not tuner friendly. So does it make more sense to keep mass market cars and then let them be tunable, or actually go and take effort to make an enthusiast car which is also tuner friendly?
So coming back to the VW group, right?
Yeah.
Slavia, The VRS badge in India, the VRS mark, is super strong.
Correct. It's iconic.
Like first gen VRS, first big turbo, powerful, attainable car for many people. 180 horsepower, quick car, 200 plus kilometers an hour, very quick. Laura VRS, complete badge hack job. Same engine, but just a visual update. Very cool looking car though.
Yeah.
Then the third gen Octavia came to us, the RS230, and the 245. The RS230, absolute brilliant piece
You're biased. You had one of them.
I had one, and mine was 320 horsepower. And you can do all of this in a day. Downpipe, tune, intake, blow-off valve. It takes a day to put those pieces on.
Yeah, but it's also expensive.
It's not. Honestly, it's not really that much.
Yeah.
Even the 1 liter Polo platform or the 1 liter Virtus platform, you put a big 110 horsepower, right? Stock from the factory 115-ish. Big turbo, downpipes, tune, intake, blow-off valve. 5 things, 180 horsepower.
But what do you think is the upkeep, the maintenance, the long life?
The 1 liter is super reliable. Torque converter or the manual, again, super reliable. People have done, for the last 5 years, they've been using it, 100,000 kilometers on the clock. General maintenance, oil changes every 10,000 kilometers and you're good to go. Genuinely. And of course, you have to warm up the car properly. You can't be a total moron in the morning while, you can't just turn the car on and then drive it hard.
Cold start and red line.
Just let it get to operating temperature, which is what you should do with every car in any case.
Right.
So, for example, Slavia platform, which is anyway a great platform. Skoda has a suspension, which they can put in, which is lowered suspension, slightly stiffer stuff.
They can do
a rear disc brake conversion. Stuff is already existing. In the OEM catalog, stuff exists. Okay. You put a 2 liter E888 engine in it. Even if you can't tune it because currently the E888 is a locked ECU.
Yeah,
the current gen E888 is locked. Even if you can't tune it, it's still 200 horsepower. Even
the 1.5 TSI
is locked.
Is still locked. Yeah.
But with the 1.5 TSI, what you can do is get a VW T-Roc ECU. What do you call it? Clone it to the stock car from your stock ECU, and then you can tune that ECU to do whatever you want.
Sounds very complicated.
So it is complicated. It's an unnecessary process, and you have to import an ECU and all. It is slightly, and it's expensive.
Yeah.
Because the ECU is expensive, like a lakh and a half, I believe. But it's possible. 2 liter again, you can get an older ECU and do it. But of course, eventually somebody will crack it, right?
Yeah.
So Slavia VRS, I think, is a great thing. Even if it's 200 and something horsepower, and then you put like bits on it, or say by chance somebody cracks that engine, it's going to be crazy. And that chassis, that platform, that size is perfect.
That MQB.
Yeah, look, A0IN. With the Polo, people are putting in 1.8s and 2 liters. They're bolt-on engines. They literally bolt-on. It takes 2-3 days to do the swap and make it run. I've driven Polos with a stock 2 liter engine dropped in. And the thing is ridiculously fast. Fast. Even a 1.8, older 1.8 from a Laura dropped in, they're quick engines. So I think with sedans, they will eventually become either something for the luxury-driven audience, somebody who prefers a more traditional car, but I think, or somebody who prefers more enthusiastic car if they want to do these sort of projects. But for most part, I think the Indian audience is just going to stick to SUVs. This makes more sense.
But you mentioned luxury segment, right, in terms of sedans. But there's also a shift that's going to luxury vans, like the V-Class that is coming in.
Yeah.
We see a lot more Wellfires, a lot more LMs. I've recently been seeing a lot of MG M9s on
Lots
the road.
of them. My friend has bought one as well.
Exactly. So what's your take on that?
So I still think there's a huge conventional audience that just wants an E-Class and nothing else. The E-Class buyer is a repeat buyer.
Fair.
They've had 3, 4, 5 generations of the E-Class back to back. It's the same with like a Honda CR-V buyer, Innova buyer, Fortuner buyer, Honda City buyer. CR-V of course doesn't exist in our market anymore. But the City, the City E-Class, Fortuner, Innova, definite return buyers that keep coming to the same product again and again and again.
Is it a trend? Most of them are Japanese.
E-Class isn't.
E-Class isn't, but most of them,
But look, the Innova offers, there's nothing else in the market that offers the same kind of package. Nothing.
Yeah.
Unless you count the Invicto, which is an Innova. Fortuner, again, there's nothing else in the market today that offers the same package. Fine, the Majesta will come, but in terms of absolute outright reliability, there's nothing else that's similar to a Fortuner. Nothing.
There might be a new Fortuner coming.
There is a new Fortuner coming this year. E-Class, again, the 5 Series offers a mix of sportiness and comfort, but if you want a rear passenger car,
can't beat it.
You can't beat it. It's just not possible. So I love sedans, but I think practically just SUVs make more sense. Would I buy an SUV or a sedan? I don't know. I just love all cars in general. I mean, I love my hatchback more than anything else. To be very, very honest, in a city like Bombay, you don't need anything else. But would I want a big burly SUV just to sort of mark a presence on the road? Yeah, as horrible as it sounds, yes. It's just a matter of fact.
A gold chrome-plated SUV which goes bouncing everywhere.
I do have a black Thar. That's the funny part. I actually do have a black Thar. Something you wanted to discuss is the Lamborghini EV.
Talking about SUVs, yeah. That's happened. So Lamborghini earlier said that they're going to shift to EV. They're going to make EV cars. Now they have said, no, we're going to stick to hybrids because they don't see a point of EVs in that segment or in that category of sportiness and luxury, spending maybe 3-4 crores and up.
So they were going to do something called the Lanzador, which is like a 2-door coupe Urus.
Yeah, like a Urus mixed with an Aventador mixed with a whatever.
A 2-door coupe Urus. That's exactly what it was. I've seen it. It looks really, really cool. Brilliant stance. Of course, that stance might not have made the production, but it's Lambo. You can't really tell. They do some absolutely bonkers stuff out there. I mean, in terms of visual appeal, there's nobody that comes
as dramatic as them.
Yeah, I mean, with the exception of like the hypercar guys, nobody else does it the way they do. But I think, look, look, let's be honest. I don't know about you, but I like EVs generally, right? But I like EVs as a commuting tool.
Right.
In a city like Mumbai, where there's traffic, for example, there is nothing better than EV to get you through traffic.
I agree.
Right? A Creta EV, for example, our long-term car that we've been driving around for ages, my BMW C02, phenomenal in traffic. Like nothing beats it. It's the quickest way through town. But in this segment where people want a little bit of drama, I don't see, like, for example, let's talk about the Rolls-Royce Spectre just for 1 second. We just transgress. That works because that makes a Rolls-Royce better. The Rolls-Royce is not
That's in line with their philosophy.
Correct. Yeah. It's exactly in line with the philosophy. Quietness, right?
The
loudest thing in a Rolls-Royce at 100 miles an hour is the clock on the dashboard. In the Spectre, it probably is actually true. It's a brilliant thing. And again, you don't have to worry about weight or size or whatever. But Lambo, I think just there is this innate direction with a Lambo where it just has to be noisy and loud and shouty and brash and all of that. And the EV thing, I just don't think would have worked. I think it still works for Porsche.
Who've also now gone to meetings to decide if they're going to do the Cayman in electric or go back to ICE.
The rumor is they're dropping the Cayman and Boxster platform altogether.
Yeah, it's too complicated apparently.
Yeah, but the Cayenne is coming.
It's coming.
It's already in production.
Yeah. So, but there's also a hybrid. There's also a V8 that's coming apparently in the Cayenne. So that's going to be fun.
What do you think about these like high-end EVs in generally? What's your opinion on them?
You know what? I took some time out to think about this because there's another high-end EV that's being revealed in stages. It's called the Luce.
The Ferrari Luce.
Yeah. So it's an exciting time because Lamborghini has just said no to EVs and Ferrari is just revealing theirs in stages. And the first clear indication is the new interior, which has now been designed by the person who
John Ives.
Exactly. Who used to work at Apple, who used to design iPhones, so you can clearly see it in the interior. But I'm in a spot wherein I'm on the fence of I like it. It looks great. It looks lovely, but not in a Ferrari.
Okay, I have a very contrary opinion, which is exactly what you guys want, right? You want a back and forth between the two hosts. Now, I'm a huge fan of John Ives' work in general. Huge fan. I mean, I've been an Apple person for since 2007 now, so it's been a while.
I, on the contrary, have gone out of my way to stay out of the Apple ecosystem.
Right. No, actually, even before that, even before 2007, with an iPod, like, anyways, digressing. I really, really like the interior on this new Ferrari. I think some of the touches are so cool, like the gauge cluster, the gauge pod, for example. The steering wheel is just absolutely awesome. The screen is a little tack on, in my opinion.
It's an iPad.
It's an iPad. I think that should have been a slightly better thing. But I'll tell you what the alternate is, right? Now, we can say whatever we want about Ferraris or Lamborghinis or whatever. But people who actually own Ferraris currently hate the no-touch, capacitive touch stuff that's happening in the Roma and the SF90 and the 812 and all of that. Even the F12. They want more buttons.
Yeah, physical buttons,
And they want like a screen, but they don't want stuff because right now everything is in center console. It was weird. The Roma had a thing in the center, but otherwise, like the most of the cars had stuff happening in the gauge cluster.
Yeah, and then you could option a passenger screen.
Yeah, but I mean that passenger screen doesn't really do much.
Exactly.
Even in the 12 cylinder, which is not a very old product, it's a recent product. This is a real departure. Ferrari had to make their EV stand out in a completely different way. My thing is, I believe it's like a Ioniq 5 type hatchback. And that might not work for Ferrari. What would have really worked for Ferrari is a big, cool sedan with like retro 70s pop-down headlights. Because you can't do pop-up headlights because regulations don't allow it. But like pop-down headlights, like I'll tell you what exactly would have worked. Like a 400, Ferrari 400, look up what that is. Or like a Mondial shape, or I know.
It was sacrilegious enough that they did an SUV after being a sports car brand.
Which is phenomenal to drive.
Now you were saying they should do a sedan or
I think a sedan. Look, they've done a sedan in the past for the Sultan of Brunei.
Yeah.
They've done a wagon in the past.
They've
done a shooting brake. No, I mean they've done a shooting brake with the FF and the GDC 4 Lusso.
Yeah.
Right? Again, people who love that car really love that car. And those are going to be huge money at one point of time. They're like, I mean, it's not in India, obviously, but the FF abroad is not very expensive for most Ferrari.
Yeah.
Like to enter into a Ferrari ecosystem, and FF is a great first car. But I think we've never had a Ferrari sedan for the public. And I think a Ferrari sedan, electric sedan for the public with that design language would have been a really cool touch. But it has to have that retro design language. And I think Ferrari might just pull out like a little surprise. Because John Ives has said in a recent interview that he's worried about, or he's anxious, that's the word he used, I believe, about revealing the design to the public, which might happen very soon. I mean, I believe it's this week or maybe the next week or something like that. But I'm really looking forward to it, just to see what Ferrari does with the EV formula.
On this, I think I'm with Lamborghini. That segment doesn't need an EV. It's not your philosophy. You were great with ICE. Stick to it. You know, even the recent cars, I'm not a huge fan of the design. I'll be honest. I know, very controversial take on the Testarossa, the 12 Cilindri, the Roma, the 296.
Amalfi now.
Oh yeah, the Amalfi now, the 296 Speciale. For me, peak was maybe the LaFerrari, the 458, that generation in terms of the design, and maybe just Pininfarina in general.
Yeah.
And now it has moved.
So I get
along.
it, and a lot of people say this because that's the cars, like when we were young, that we were impressionable. I mean, you were very young. I wasn't.
I used to watch Top Gear on TV. We used to have watched TV back then.
But when we were young, that impressionable, those like 458 was the 430, 360, 355. That's the kind of stuff I grew up to, right? My first Ferrari that I've ever been in was a Testarossa, the original Testarossa in 1993. What? Insane. I mean, I am this because of that one moment.
Okay.
But I really like the new 849 Testarossa with the Assetto Fiorano pack on it with the little winglets at the back.
Yeah.
I really like the way that looks. The 12 Cilindri, the Rodici Cilindri, if you want to call it that exact word. Obviously I saw it and I liked it at first, but I was sort of like, maybe in the right color, etc. When you see that car in person,
I haven't.
It blows your mind away. It is so wide.
Yeah.
It's got hips like
Can't take names.
It's got big, wide, childbearing hips, as they call it. It's got a stance that is to die for, and in the right color, in the right spec, which is not red, that car looks phenomenal. Phenomenal. 849, I'm really looking forward to. It's coming to India very, very soon. We discussed that in the last episode. 296 Speciale, I agree. I think the normal 296 actually looks nicer because it's a purer design and it looks like a 246 Dino. I think the 296 Speciale with the right wheels maybe will look nicer, not the stock wheels. Stock wheels are absolutely horrible. Ferrari cannot do wheels. Just cannot do wheels.
Okay, that's strong opinion. But
Amalfi, again, I'm not a big fan of at all. I prefer the Roma. But the Puro Sangue, for example, perfect contender for a V8 hybrid. Perfect contender. Like the 849 motor, put it in that 1000 horsepower SUV. Who doesn't want a 1000 horsepower SUV? Everybody wants 1000.
Okay, that gives me a good segue to come back to the point that, that's how it's done. You're going to make an SUV. Everyone's doing an SUV. Porsche is making an SUV. Aston Martin is making an SUV. Lamborghini is killing it with their SUV. What do you do to stand out from everything else? Yes.
And that's what they've done. And it sounds mega. In fact, you put a Novitec exhaust on that, and it sounds like a Formula 1 car. It sounds like an F12 with straight pipe, something. It's insane how cool that sounds. But anyways, we're digressing. Luce, I think we'll wait and watch. I have a feeling Ferrari is going to pull out a surprise and just be like a really retro themed. Look, our whole opinion on Hyundai changed in a second when they did the Ioniq 5.
It was retro futuristic, it was clean, it was minimal.
Yeah.
Apparently it was sustainable as well. Would they go sustainable?
I think Ferrari has a trick up its sleeve. You know also this is the only Ferrari in like the last 30 or 40 years where you can't spec carbon fiber in it.
What? Why?
Yeah, because they're like, look, how does it matter? Weight is not a concern for us here.
But it's an EV.
They've said that we will do cool, like nice materials. I think they'll do like wood or like sustainable materials, but they'll find the weight saving in other parts. Like they'll 3D print components or like suspension parts and stuff. So that's where they're going to save weight. But doing like raw carbon, what Ferrari does and they charge an arm and leg for, they're not doing that in this, which I think is a great step. Look, Ferrari is one of the first companies that did carbon fiber.
Yeah.
They were a pioneer in carbon fiber. They forged that part ahead, not with forged carbon, which I think is horrible and ugly. Man, sorry, take note. But I think Ferrari is forging a new step and saying, okay, carbon fiber is overdone. Let's get back to like more sustainable materials. Wood, and wood is light also, like light driftwood, for example, stuff you find in like Volvos and all. It's very light. Or like you get artificial materials or like lab-grown materials, which are really cool. Cloth is really cool. Maybe they'll bring back cloth because you can spec an S-Class now with cloth, a new S-Class. So I think that's some really cool stuff which they might do. But of course, everybody's going to buy a red one with tan interiors in it. So.
Yeah, so we're going to have to wait and watch to see if we actually end up liking it or no.
Right. There's another car that you had very, very strong feelings on when we discussed it a few hours ago.
Yeah. So it got leaked. So BMW's USA website accidentally listed an M2 with xDrive.
You're not a fan? I think it will be epic.
I know why you're saying it's going to be an epic thing, because you think it's going to be like an A45S with 4MATIC.
No.
Okay.
The M3 or the M4, the current gen.
Yeah.
With the same engine essentially, right?
Yeah.
The S58 is it?
S58, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken. That engine has so much potential. That having a rear, I mean, look, I'm talking about like aftermarket stuff here and tuning and all that. But that engine has so much potential. That platform has so much potential with xDrive that I think that could be like the new drag king. Now, I know nobody. Yes.
Don't buy a BMW to go in a straight line.
No. Look, but M3s with a flash are doing like 9-second quarter miles.
Nobody cares.
Okay, I'll tell you what. If you put if you take it stock as is, right? Everybody else in that segment is all-wheel drive. Mercedes is all-wheel drive with the
A45, the CLA40, whatever.
CLE,
everything's 4MATIC. Yeah.
CLE Coupe or whatever.
Yeah.
BMW, I think, had or they had a market gap with the M2 not being all-wheel drive. I think they're just filling that. I think most of the M2s will still be a Comp or whatever, a CS. which will be rear wheel drive
for
the purity of it. Because frankly, the new M2 is one of the best cars I've driven in a long, long time.
Agreed.
It is absolutely the best, one of the best chassis. I think it's the best car BMW makes today. Like the best car BMW makes. More than the M4, more than the M3, more than the M5, all of that. I know people will, I mean, I don't hate the M5, I don't hate the M4, but I think the M2 is really, really good. But I think it's a gap that they're filling. There are markets, of course, which prefer all-wheel drive, US, etc., northern.
Yeah, because the driving conditions, all of that, yeah, fair.
But I think it's just a gap that they're filling. I think people are overreacting on the internet a little bit. They still will get a rear-wheel drive car, so...
Hopefully.
Yeah, and of course, if you can't get a rear-wheel drive car, it's only all-wheel drive, then there's a module you can add, we press a button and it becomes all rear-wheel drive in any case. So that's something they can do.
But maybe what if they just discontinue it, as you
I
said?
don't think so.
They discontinued manuals. The M2 was the last car you could buy with a manual from BMW and it's gone.
What was the percentage of the manual being offered? It was so small that it made no sense.
Fair, but you still keep it because it's, again, in line with your brand, right? That's what you guys are known for. Let's go a few years back, and I know, changing topic and changing brands, Porsche. Remember when they got the 911R, they were all sold out before the first car was made because it was a manual.
And no, because they said it was the last manual they'll make.
Exactly.
Then what happened?
Then, because of the response, they made a few more and now you can still...
No, they didn't make a few more. They gave the manual as an option in the GT3 Touring.
Yeah.
Which made the 911R guys very angry and the values dropped from over $1 million to about $600,000-$700,000 that they are now. Then they gave an option for the GT3, the normal GT3, the 992, to have a manual.
And people are...
And in the Touring. And now it's available in the T. So, I mean, look, fine. There is the Porsche audience, I think. And look, very, very honestly, the BMW manual is not a great gearbox.
Really?
It's not a great gearbox.
I never got to drive it.
It's not a good gearbox. That platform demands the automatic. The automatic is so much better. And if you're a hardcore manual person and you really want a manual, go buy something from the 2000s and like resto mod it or something, because those manuals are really, really good. Like even today, even now, a first gen Swift manual, first gen Honda City manual, Ford Icon Fiesta manual. What else was in that sort of category?
I was in school.
Bunch of stuff. Is still like absolute benchmark stuff, like real benchmark stuff.
And thanks to the government, probably I'll never get to drive them.
Also like stuff like diesel first gen Swift manual. Like the first gen Swift diesel, I mean they're only available in manuals, but the first gen Swift diesel, Ignis diesel manual, petrol manual, all of those. Maruti makes a great manual gearbox, like really, really good.
My favorite one is the one in the Jimny.
That's a gypsy gearbox. Yeah, it's a gypsy gearbox. It's an old gearbox.
Yeah.
That gearbox has been around for ages. It's the gypsy gearbox. It's just an evolution of that gearbox. That's why it's quite rubbish. I want to discuss something. It'll be in the magazine again. I know we're teasing it. I think we put out some pictures of it on our social media, so go check that out on Instagram. Very briefly, I'll touch upon it. It's the complete opposite of all this modern stuff. I went to the Oberoi Concours.
Oh yes, you did.
Second Oberoi Concours in India. It's basically replaced the what was it called? The Cartier Concours as like the premier vintage and classic car show in the southern Asian region.
Yeah.
There are other concourses that happen in India, but I think this is by far the best one by a margin. Every year, every time I go to one of these concourse events, the quality of Indian restoration just is unbeatable.
Yeah, I've seen some pictures.
Unbeatable. We are getting to a point where we can definitely go toe to toe with any major restorer in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, today we have restoration shops and chrome shops, which are, we have top 3 chrome shops in the world is in India. Like it's down the road in Bombay. I think we're coming to a point where our cars are going abroad and getting great accolades as well.
Yes.
Like the Poonawalla collection that went abroad and basically the 7 Phantoms that he displayed, stuff like that. There was few cars that obviously stood out from the rest. For me, the Indian motorsport class was Like it just brought back so many memories.
Tell us what you see. What's your highlight? Okay, let's start with your highlight, or you want to build up to it?
No, I'll just talk about one or two cars because I don't want to really talk much about it because I think people, I think majorly our audiences are into vintage or classic cars. But there are a couple of things I do want to talk about. There was a great Fiat. It's like my unicorn, absolute unicorn car for when it comes to Fiat 1100s. Vijay Mallya's old race car, MAR 90, and it hurts me so much more because I was offered that car about 20 years ago, $50,000, 50,000 rupees for those of you who don't like me saying bucks. And we said no, and I really regret the decision. I just don't know what we were thinking at the time. There was a beautiful Lancia there, which has motorsport history, four-door sedan, unreal car, very meticulously restored back to very original. The interiors are still original on the car, unrestored. There were a couple of other. There was an Alfa Romeo there, which absolutely blew my mind. 6C. Most of the Rolls Royces were just
As you'd expect, yeah.
There was a polished aluminum 2025 HP, which was, it just like blew my mind. The Gondal 300 SL in racing form, without the bumpers, without the wheel caps. For the first time I've seen it in that form. Absolutely stunning. So there's so much to talk about, you know.
Yeah.
I would literally do a whole podcast. I can talk about it for half an hour. But I'm just saying that we today as an Indian community should be, my God, what the hell is happening? Should be so proud of what we as a car community can achieve in India. The quality of restoration, the quality of detail, the storytelling behind these cars, the kind of dossiers people prepare with historical information is all of international level. Not one of these cars could not go to a Pebble Beach and stand toe to toe with international competition. And I'm really proud. Everybody who came there and the organizers and all of that, I think it's just a fantastic job. We need more concourse events, maybe for different class of cars, maybe for more modern cars of maybe from 70s and 80s and stuff like that, 90s. We really need that segment going. Currently, there's nothing really interesting or noteworthy happening with the modern classic or the young timers movement, as we call it. But I think there is definitely, it was just like a red letter day for Indian motoring. Brilliant. We'll put up some pictures here. But just some fantastic stuff.
I'm super jealous. But there was these were all cars in India, restored in India, worked in India. There's something that came from abroad as well, which I saw on social media.
Oh, the Batmobile.
Yes.
So now you can import cars officially. Anything that's older than 50 years, you can bring to India in any case. But BMW brought in BMW is a partner sponsor or whatever for the show. Last time they brought in one of their cars. This time, I can't remember what they brought in last time. I'm blanking out.
Yeah, this time they brought three cars,
This year they brought in one of their concepts. They brought in a 502. Was it called a 502? 502. And they brought in a 3-liter CSL, 3.0 CSL, E9 Batmobile in race trim.
Yeah.
That car takes 10 minutes to start up. There's a sequence to it. So they didn't start it up, they just pushed it everywhere. That car is unreal.
Yeah.
It's a proper raced car, apparently. It's not like some show display vehicle.
Do you see race marks?
No. It's got a race history or something. That's what they said. But oh my God, just oof. I mean, I put a picture out of that, and then I did go. I wasn't supposed to go. I did end up going at the last minute. But that car, I sat in it.
Yeah.
And it just put the biggest smile on my face. The biggest smile.
I'm so jealous. I am. Yeah.
I grew up around a 635, like a 6 Series BMW. There was one sadly in my building as we grew up as I was a kid, and it disintegrated into the ground. Now the car is being resurrected. It's got some different engine going into it or something. It's in Bangalore. But that car, I grew up around, and I was just I would like drool over it. At the end of the day, BMW has such great historical cars in their portfolio, and some really usable historical cars, not just garage queens, like some really usable raced history. Should we wrap up podcast there?
Yeah.
Anything else you want to discuss?
I don't think so. Nothing that I can talk about. Everything's hush for now.
Should we just give like hints?
Maybe if we've spoken about BMW Sport M history, I think that's enough of a teaser for them. What do you think? You want to add
What have
something
you done
else?
with BMW and
Nothing. I'm just saying race history, something like an M back in the day that we've done.
Okay, now he's confusing even me. Anyways, anniversary issue coming up, guys. I know it's going to be a little delayed this time around. Anniversary issue does go out a little later, so please bear with us on that. We're doing some really cool stuff. We've shot something so cool. Today, you'll see this out on Monday, and by then those pictures will. Nimit sitting here behind the camera. Will they be up by Monday? They'll be up by Monday. So those pictures will be up by Monday. It is a phenomenal build that somebody has done, and we've taken an S63 to meet that car. You should know what it is now by now. But yeah, stay tuned for that. As always, tell us what you think about us, about this format in the comment section. You will catch us on YouTube. We are on Spotify. We will be on Apple Podcasts really soon. We're trying to sort out a few niggles that we're having on that platform. But for now, this is it. Cyrus, Saneet, signing off. I think I'll let Saneet do the final sign off.
Thank you for watching. See you guys next time.